I hope you're ready for some awesome car stuff, because today I'm going to be removing the more traditional anti-roll bar out of the front of this car and replacing it with a hollow torsion tube. Really cool stuff. So an awesome bloke out in Hawaii, of all places, got in touch because he has a really cool torsion tube set up to bolt into the NA/NB MX-5 Miata. It's a complete sort of DIY kit with mounts and everything that replaces pretty much the entire roll bar, anti-roll bar setup on a standard NA/NB. It's all really nice, high quality gear, and it uses an off-the-shelf torsion tube or anti-roll bar type tube, which means you can swap them out with different sizes, different diameters, and effectively get whatever sway bar rate you would like. And they're easily adjustable and easily interchangeable. If you want to swap between tracks or events or even on the day, you can fairly easily slide one out and slide another one into the car. Really cool piece of kit, and he sent me out a prototype version, so we're going to get to have a play with this. It's going to be real fun. So I guess it always seems fitting that the first thing we do is kind of have a look at all of the gear that we've got. So effectively, Matty sends out a pair of alloy arms, a pair of alloy mounts, some bolts to attach the mounts to the car, some collars to stop the bar from moving around. The mounts have Delrin bushings in them, and a couple of 949 end links, and then obviously the torsion bars. Now, the torsion bars aren't strictly included in the kit, and the idea being that you can source your own from wherever you can get them. Unfortunately for us poor souls here in Australia, these things are almost impossible to get. I tried contacting the supplier or the manufacturer directly, and they just blatantly ignored my emails. That's One Speedway something or other. I'll put a URL down the bottom here. I tried contacting local suppliers, and there was only one place on the other side of the country who wanted some insane, like $800 for a single bar. Like, it was just stupid when you can buy them in the US for somewhere around $100 to $200 US. In the end, I had to go back to Matty from HM, who makes this whole kit, and say, hey, can you kind of source one of these in the US and then send it out to me? And that was way cheaper in the end. He was able to get one and mail it out to me, and it was a fraction of the cost of what I could have had to pay for any local supplier. And it was really disappointing that the people who make the bar couldn't even bother to reply to my contact to try and source one from them. I wasn't trying to do anything special, I just wanted to buy a bar off them, but nope. Anyway, the arms are obviously machined alloy piece of kit. They've got splined teeth. There's little splines to key in with the bar. They've got a really nice finish. The mounts here are a prototype setup, so they're not quite the finished product. They're slightly different now. He's revised things, but effectively they'll operate the same. The off-the-shelf collars to stop the bar from shifting between the mounts, and some really nice mounting hardware that I believe Matty's made himself. They look absolutely stunning. Some stickers and some instructions. It's all relatively straightforward. I have to say, it all looks stunning. The gear looks really cool. Probably a bit overkill for a cheapo, crappy little Miata, but when you're chasing performance and the top levels of things, you gotta pay for the good gear. Now, installation shouldn't be that convoluted. We just need to kind of get to the front end, pull a few bits apart, pull out all the old sway bar and put in all the new stuff. I've sort of oversimplified it there, but the hardest bit for me is trying to get the car jacked up with bodywork and things on, so I might have to remove splitters and side skirts and stuff. But let's get the car into a nicer position and we'll start pulling some things off, hey? One unfortunate fact is I'm probably going to have to remove the radiator. It's just the way that I've got this car set up and the way the radiator is mounted. it's going to have to come out so that we can get to the Swaybar mounts, or the existing ones, and also to be able to drill holes for the new billet mounts. Just part of the way it's mounted, unfortunately, but let's get it done quickly. Now that we've got all this room for activities, it's time to remove the Swaybar and its mounts. So obviously, first of all, you can notice that I've actually lowered the radiator mount from here down to here. Gives us a little bit more clearance for a few things that I've got on with the intercooler and stuff, but nothing special. Then obviously the Swaybar mount, which is this bit, also bolts on with these two bolts, so we're going to unbolt that and remove it. I've also got the reinforcing bars here from Racing Beat. They're a nice product to prevent any cracking and reinforce these mounts, which is a nice little thing if you don't want to go too crazy like we're doing today. I've got my Racing Beat Swaybar. A few things to keep in mind. I've got the oil thermostat here, which is close to these mounts, but I think it'll clear okay. However, on the other side here, I've got the Swaybar mount, not Swaybar, excuse me, the splitter mount here, which I've unbolted, but I think that might get in the way of the new Swaybar bracket. We'll see. So we'll get all the factory Swaybar stuff off, and we'll see how the new bracket fits up. There she is, all out now. Obviously you could have removed the Swaybar by unbolting it first and all of that thing before you undo the brackets, but I didn't really see the need. I can just do it all in one big unit, particularly because I've got the longer bolts with these braces in there, a little bit extra fiddliness to get the Swaybar out, so I just did it all in one go. The hardest part obviously is getting the two spot welds on each mount out of the way, so I used the spot weld drill bit to kind of get them out as best I could, and then the chisel and a hammer and some brute force to get the rest of the way, but it all came off not too bad, I suppose. Now we can test fit the new stuff. First thing to do is probably clean up the area here where the spot weld was. We'll give that a quick grind back. So for the install of the mount, we do need to keep in mind that these are mirror images of one another, so they are handed, so to speak. This is the right hand side one, so we can put that in here. It goes in a particular orientation and things, so just pay attention to that all if you're ever doing this in your car. The tricky thing is the splitter mount here is almost definitely going to get in the way, because that needs to go somewhere like that, and that clearly isn't going to be happy anymore. But we can modify this later, I suppose. Whatever, I'll work it out. Let's get this bit right though. So the doco says the bolt hole here needs to be 165.1 millimeters from this upper support as part of the strut tower here. So I'll get my nice ruler out, we'll measure across, we'll get this in the right spot. We'll mark the hole for this point and then drill it, I suppose. Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to think about that. Probably best to give everything here a good clean, make sure there's no dirt or anything that can get in the way. So I might do that. Then I'll grab the drill, drill some holes. I think we need 9.5 millimeter drill bit. So I'll have to see what I got. So I'll put my ruler here. 165 is there. And if I put my mount in place, fits in there nice and snug. We can see our mark is perfectly in the middle of the hole, which is convenient. Holes are now drilled on the other side. Let's lay this guy up in here and zoom in. Hopefully our bolts feed in. So the Darwin sleeve, which goes sort of like this, it goes in from the other side, like so. We can put that on the actual bar, and when we can slide the bar in here first before we put the sleeve in. It might be a bit easier, but that's good. Holes line up. We're going to put the bracket in on the other side now, which is easy enough, I suppose. But no issues with clearance. It's just a smidge of room around the oil lines, which are here. No problem with the thermostat for the oil cooler. So far the only issue is clearing this guy. Starting to get a bit sunny and hot here. So now I install the bar. Now the mounts are only loosely affixed. That's so that there's a bit of wiggle room as we slide the bar in. They should hopefully equal themselves out and join up to one another and get all nice and happy. So we slide this in, we're going to slide this bushing in, we're going to slide the two locks in, and then hopefully it'll poke through to the mount on the other side. Make sense? Good. They went through nice and smooth. So the bar's in there all nice and happy, which is really good. It's nice and free. So what I'll do, I'll tighten up the nuts on either end so then our mounts are solid. Then we can set the distance between the 2 points on either side laterally, and then secure the lockers so that it doesn't move. And then we can attach the ends, I guess. Now I want to measure the sort of protrusion distance so I can get it even on either side. I'm going to set this one to 50 mil. I'll measure the other side, calculate the difference, and then halve it. Okay, so I went and measured the other side and it's 50 mil. So I got perfectly right with my guess. Had the other side been, say, 70 mil, you would then halve that difference, which is 10, and therefore this one would need to come out 10. to get them equal, but in this case both sides are 50. That means of course I can lock down the locking collars here so that they sit up against the Delrin bush. That means the bar can't shift left and right. And last thing to do is then to fix the arms, so I'll just lock these down now. Now I've got the fun job of installing these guys, and the only real thing we need to remember is which side they go on, and to get them even. You don't want them to be off kilter. So pretty straightforward. They just slide on the bar, and of course the bar is nice and loose, so they just can swing up and down super easy. Keep in mind these are of course a 48 spline, just like the bar, so they key on perfectly. Really nice actually. So yeah, I'll get them both on, tighten them up so that they don't move, and then oh, and a little bit of lube on around here to yeah, to get them sit on nicely. Alright. Got a bit of grease blowout, but that's alright. Give it a bit of a jerk and let it sit there.
Which is accessible. See how we go. Okay, that seems to work.
Okay. Cool. Greasy. So, to be able to finish up our install, I just need to install the wheels back on the car so I can drop the car back on its suspension in its natural state. Then we can finish up setting the end links at the right height and double checking that everything's all square and parallel and things. But so far it's gone pretty well. I do need to also reinstall the brackets for the radiator and throw that back in and fill it up with coolant, but that's pretty easy. These are Matty's awesome titanium wheel nuts. They're really nice. They're light, but they're strong, and they look super sexy. Have a look on his website if you need some, because you need some. And well, there you have a completed install. It all went relatively okay. Probably the hardest part was drilling out these spot welds, which, you know, if that's the worst thing you're going to do for the day, then hey, that's not too bad. All in all, a pretty nice piece of kit compared to this standard unit, and lucky for me, this all came out in one go. This wasn't bad, it definitely worked, but this is going to have heaps of adjustability. No binding that you would get from a bushing. Like, you look at this, I can't even twist that by hand at all. So your sway bar is all being taut up and stuck here, whereas this one, totally free. Those arms can move up and down independent of the chassis. None of this stickiness that we've got here. So a complete and utter change, I think, would be significant in improving the quality of the anti-roll bar system, as well as offering so much more adjustability. I can change out arms, I can change out the torsion bar, I can adjust the arm length. heaps of opportunity for playing with this thing. So really keen to see how it goes on track. And this, well, I might put it on one of the other cars. It's definitely a sturdy product, just not sturdy enough. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Oh, by the way, don't forget to check out HM Speed Shop. Massive thanks to Maddie up in Hawaii, and yeah, go say aloha to Maddie. Ta.